Etep here from Wrestling with Horror. Today, we are going to talk about the top 10 WCW tag teams ranked by the Hitman Bret Hart using his own personal ranking system, how he scores them. We'll cover that and more right on the other side of the intro.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Have you or loved one been wronged by shitty wrestling? Call Yikes and Oof Attorneys at Law. 1-800-976-6299. That's Yikes and Oof Attorneys at Law.
In Bret Hart's 2007 autobiography, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling, he created a ranking scale to determine a wrestler's overall greatness. He listed 3 criteria to judge a wrestler on, those being promo ability, physique, and in-ring performance. The closer a wrestler got to a combined score of 30, the better he or she was. For this list, we'll be looking at tag teams, specifically the best in WCW history. Both wrestlers will be combined to give an overall score to the team as a whole, with points being deducted if one wrestler on the team is ranked lower in the same category. So let's dive into this list and take a look at the top 10 tag teams in WCW according to the excellence of execution.
Number 10, the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan's lackeys.
The Nasty Boys were fantastic when it came to brawling. They rank lowest on this list with a combined score of 18. Their promos were loud and abrasive, and though never exactly eloquent, they knew how to get their point across. They did have some grasp of fundamentals in the ring, having spent time in the AWA, but they were much more effective in gimmick matches and tornado-style brawls. They were certainly not body guys, so to speak, but they were big and imposing and fit in their era. Nevertheless, the team found success wherever they went, winning tag titles in every major promotion. In-ring skills, 6 out of 10. Promos, 7 out of 10. Look, 5 out of 10. Total score of 1830, landing the Nasty Boys in 10th place on the list.
Number 9, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson.
The Rock and Roll Express come in with an overall score of 22 on the Bret Hart ranking system. Their in-ring work is unmatched, and Ricky Morton in particular is considered to be one of the all-time great workers of any era. Where they were just a little above average was in the promo and physique department. Both Ricky and Robert exuded a fiery passion on the mic, but they more or less seemed content with letting their wrestling do the talking. They did look like athletes, but neither guy looked like he spent a lot of time in the gym. They are undoubtedly one of the greatest tag teams of what many consider to be quite possibly the greatest era of tag team wrestling in one promotion. And I have a close connection to them because I was trained initially by Shane Morton, the nephew of Ricky Morton. In-ring skills, 10 out of 10. Promo ability, 6 out of 10. Look, 6 out of 10. Total score, 22 out of 30 for the Rock and Roll Express.
Number 8, Doom, Hacksaw Butch, Reed and Ron Simmons, with Theodore R. Long.
Doom introduced the world to Ron Simmons. They were previously managed by a woman comprised of Butch Reed and Ron Simmons. Doom were one of WCW's slightly underrated teams, which is perhaps due to their relatively short run. They were both standout athletes before getting into pro wrestling, and legitimately tough guys. Their physiques were certainly their strongest attribute, where they net a score of 10. Their in-ring work was more than solid as well, earning them a score of 8. While their promos weren't abysmal by any means, they simply weren't known for them. They usually had their manager woman do their talking for them, and later on, Teddy Long. In-ring skills, 8 out of 10. Promo ability, 5 out of 10. Look, 10 out of 10. Total score, 23 out of 30.
Number 7, the Midnight Express, Sweet Stan Lane, Beautiful Bobby Eaton, and Dennis Condrey, managed by Jim Cornette.
One of wrestling's all-time great tag teams, let alone WCW. Some may wonder how the Midnight Express only come in at number 7 on the list. This is based on Bret Hart's scaling system, though, and there's a few things that shave off some points for the Midnight. Bobby Eaton was one of the best pure workers that ever stepped foot into a wrestling ring, and combined with the two other most notable members, Dennis Condrey and Stan Lane, they deserve a score of 10 on an in-ring basis. However, while Stan Lane had a great physique, Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey weren't exactly bodybuilders, earning them a 7 overall in this category. Their manager, Jim Cornette, is one of pro wrestling's best mouthpieces of all time, but none of the actual wrestlers on the team were great talkers, earning them an 8 as promo artists. In-ring skills, 10 out of 10. Promo ability, 8 out of 10. Look, 7 out of 10. Total score, 25 out of 30 for the Midnight Express.
Number 6. The Harlem Heat, Stevie Ray and Booker T.
Stevie Ray and Booker T are biological brothers. Far from Harlem, Booker and Lash Huffman were actually from Houston, Texas. They were modern athletes in that they were physically imposing but could move quite well around the ring. Both of them were in terrific shape, garnering them a score of 10 in the physique category. While they were managed by Sensational Sherry, or Sister Sherry, Jacqueline, and Colonel Robert Parker, they had no problem speaking for themselves, and therefore a score of 7 in the promo department. Their in-ring work was great, to say the least, which is why they score an 8 in that regard. Final marks for the Harlem Heat: in-ring skills, 8 of 10. Promo ability, 7 of 10. Look, 10 out of 10. Score, 25 out of 30.
Number 5. The Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
The Outsiders were at the heart and soul of the NWO. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall could be considered pioneers of their time. Along with Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall would form the NWO and spark a renewed mainstream interest in pro wrestling in the process. As a team, the Outsiders score a 7 when it comes to in-ring work, as Scott Hall is considered an exceptional worker, and Kevin Nash more or less average inside the ring. Both Hall and Nash were great on the mic, scoring them a 9 in the promo category. They were also big and well built, looking like they never missed a day in the gym. Neither of them were Lex Luger, but they certainly deserve a 9 when it comes to physiques, giving the Outsiders an overall score of 25. The Outsiders' final numbers: in-ring, 7 out of 10. Promo ability, 9 out of 10. Look, 9 out of 10. Total score, 25 of 30.
Number 4. The Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal.
To this day, the expression Road Warrior Pop is used to measure how over a wrestler is. There was never a team that was more over than the Road Warriors, and that still rings true to this very day. With impeccable physiques, Hawk and Animal earned a score of 10 in that particular bracket. Even though they had the great Paul Ellering as their manager, both the Road Warriors could talk, with Hawk being absolutely fantastic, giving them a score of 9. Their only less than stellar area would be their in-ring work, which earns them a 6 in that category. They were not polished in the ring, but their matches never failed to be entertaining, often in the most brutal way. Road Warriors Roundup: 6 out of 10 in-ring, 9 out of 10 promo, 10 out of 10 look, 25 out of 30 overall.
Number 3. The Hollywood Blondes, Stunning Steve Austin and Flyin' Brian Pillman.
The Hollywood Blondes allowed Steve Austin and Brian Pillman to show off more of their personalities. Some may be surprised to see the WCW version of the Hollywood Blondes ranked so high on this list, but less so when you consider it was comprised of 2 all-time greats, one of whom would go on to become the biggest box office draw in wrestling history. Both wrestlers were still finding themselves during their time as a team, but were still good enough to earn a score of 9 when it comes to both in-ring work and promo ability. It was through the Hollywood Blondes that we would see the infinite charisma that both Steve Austin and Brian Pillman possessed. Both guys were in shape as well, getting them a score of 8 when it comes to their respective physiques. Totals for the Hollywood Blondes: in-ring skills, 9 out of 10. Promo ability, 9 out of 10. Look, 8 out of 10. Total score, 26 out of 30.
Number 2. The Steiner Brothers, Rick and Scott Steiner.
The Steiners were the real deal. Both Rick and Scott Steiner were amateur college standouts. Innovative and legitimate, the Steiners were a fearsome duo in their day. Their in-ring work was an extension of their amateur credentials, giving them a score of 9 in the in-ring skills category. They were entertaining and colorful on the mic, and though they didn't weave complex stories with their verbiage, they were good enough to score a 7 in the promo category. Where the Steiners score a perfect 10 is in the physique category. They looked like they were built out of stone, with Scott in particular boasting one of the most unreal bodies in wrestling history. Famously being told to take a drug test in WWE, he said he would as long as Triple H went with him. They never asked him to take a drug test again. Steiner's totals: in-ring skills, 9 out of 10. Promo ability, 7 out of 10. Look, 10 out of 10. Total score, 26 out of 30 for the Steiners.
Before we get to the top spot on the list, take a moment and turn the red button gray and subscribe to Wrestling with Horror. Number 1 on the list, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard representing the Four Horsemen.
Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson were what you'd call wrestlers. Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, along with the Four Horsemen, were the epitome of pro wrestling. At times, it seemed as though Tully and Arn invented the blueprint for modern tag team wrestling. Their in-ring work was flawless, giving them a 10 in that regard. Both guys could talk, but Arn, in particular, was a brilliant orator, giving him a 10 in the promo category as well. While neither Tully nor Arn could claim a bodybuilder physique, they looked the part of professional athletes, earning them a solid 7. Overall, they score higher than any other team on this list at 27 out of 30. That is it, gang. That is the list. What do you think? I can't say that I agree with all of it, but for the most part, yeah. Who am I to disagree with Bret Hart, right? Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Rank these, rank yours in the comments below. That's it, gang. I'm done. You can check us out if you want channel memberships. They're available $2.99, $4.99. Patreon, that's patreon.com/Wrestling with Horror 420. Let me take this opportunity at the end of the video to thank all the paying customers. And for those of you watching, just finding the channel, hi. Glad you found us. Hope you enjoyed. I'm Etep from Wrestling with Horror. Have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I will catch you on the next one. Remember, it's always better to burn out than fade away.